Hi all, going to give you a little review of the switch I just built. I'm sorry, the crossing that I just built in the double crossover and the throat of the Nashville Union Station. And here's the throat, and you can see it going down in the station. So this is the first time I've tried scratch building a crossing. At least it's the first time in many years. I did one back in the 70s, I think, with no kind of expertise, but tried my hand at switches and crossings. So this is, first of all, an Atlas number 8 switch that I tore apart and replaced basically all the center section, the frog, the closure rails, the points. I just left the stock rail, the outside rails, and used a majority of the plastic ties. Some ties were thrown away because they were part of the mold for the rails that and the frog that Atlas made for it. So those came out fairly well. I used Fast Track's tools, not their jig, but their tools, to build the points and the frogs, and they worked out very well for me. I'm very happy with them. And then the diamond in the middle is completely scratch built, and I made that on Fast Track's copper clad ties. And they come in a fret, I think it's about 27 to a tie, and I just cut them to length and used all those for this whole diamond. And one thing I wanted to point out also, with these switches, it only cost me about $3.50 and a little over an hour, maybe hour and a half or so, to make the switch. So hour and a half, or I should say $1.50, is a pretty cheap way to go to upgrade the switches if you don't feel like throwing them out after you've paid the money you paid for them and that. So I wouldn't go out buying them to do that, but since I already have them, and I have quite a few of them, 30-something in the pasture terminal, so it was pretty nice to be able to do that for me. So anyways, the diamond itself is made up of individual rail and soldered all in place. And I had to do the all the gapping and that for the flange ways and the guardrails and such to make it correct for the NMRA, using the NMRA's tools, since I'm hopefully going to use this as one of the track work that I have to build, one of 3 for the achievement certificate for civil engineer track work. So that's what this was built for, and it also replaced a pretty crummy Atlas crossing that I was not happy with. So, and then let's see, we can discuss how I powered this track. If you look under here, we have the frog juicer. Hopefully I get it in focus here. The frog juicer powers the crossover, the double crossover. It goes from, should say, this triangle here, from frog to frog and up into the diamond, is all one common piece. It's wired from the frog juicer, just one wire, and that provides power for that side. The other side, the same thing. This diamond here with the frogs is another common piece with one wire going to it. And then you'll see from here, let me get the camera, these notches right here to these notches right here, that's all one common piece of track work. And that is also wired one spot. I've got down in here one wire coming up from the frog juicer, and again over here for this one. So it's all automatically taken care of by the frog juicer. I don't have any switches. I don't have any dead spots, and that's what's really nice. It really makes it nice for running switchers in and out of the pasture terminal area with cuts of cars and that, because you know how switchers can be when you have dead spots and dead frogs. And so far, it's worked out very well for me. Okay, the switches, I point out the Howard hump yard purveyance. And these are, let me go at an angle here. These are like Armstrong levers. Each one is connected, if I can get under here, is connected to a cable, a wire inside a plastic tube. And those go to each of the switches. So this happens to be the number 1 switch, number 2 over here, which leads to the coach yard. And then I've got the double crossovers and such. Each one of those are controlled by these hump yard levers. Now, one thing I'd like to point out is the wire is fairly flexible, and it can cause problems. It flexes a little too much, and it's got to come up from below through 3/4 inch plywood. It does flex a little too much, and I'm afraid when I put ballast and dirt and other scenery down around the switches, I'm going to have to be very careful, or I could have some problems getting the points to throw all the way from one side to the other. So that's basically it. I will demonstrate the train, the switcher. You can hear it in the background. I'm going to demonstrate that coming through the switches and the crossover, and you can see how well they operate, and I'm quite happy with them. So here we go, using an NCE DCC system. Not that that matters a whole lot, but that is what powers the railroad. I'll keep her slow going through the switches so you can see, and watch the headlight. There's no flickering. I do not have a keep alive in this. This is a standard Walters DCC locomotive. I'll go on the other side of the little tower here. Okay, it's entering the double crossover now. I did have some problems with the passenger cars going through this because of the wheels, the flanges and that. And I noticed this first car here, one wheel pops a little bit going back the other way, you'll see it. And I think I'm going to have to verify that that is set correctly. The gauges, a lot of these cars are out of gauge just enough where the flangeway doesn't have a whole lot of play for it, and can cause problems. So I'm going to come around here so I can grab the throttle, slow her down, stop her, and then bring her back, and you can watch her go through the crossover being shoved. I'll try to get the camera down a little closer. You see, nice slow operation, doesn't affect the switcher, and the wheelbase isn't really large on it, so I would think just about any switcher will work well with this track the way it's set up at this time, which makes me really happy after all the work I did for it. And I'll just bring her to a stop here. Okay, one other thing I can point out is for these number 8 switches, the frog, you can see one cut right here and another one right here. So it's about 1.5 widths of my thumb. but they are a lot smaller than the standard Atlas frog. I cut them as close as I could. You can see some of the copper clad ties. They're the ones with the little notches in them that I had to cut the, I don't know if you can see that or not, but I had to cut the notches in there to, for the short. You don't want to short out the switches and that. And the same with this. If you look at the right angle, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but you can see some of the ties there, the copper ties that were split. Well, we're here up above. Some of you might be familiar with this. This is the first scenery that I really started working on at any length, and that's the stratus rock that a friend of mine came up with that I started working with. You can see that more of that on my website on Facebook, Nashville Road. And also this picture somewhere right in this area was or is in Tony Kester's latest book on building a railroad. So I was really happy that he wanted a picture of that. And I'll just walk you through here. This is a mess right now, but I'll walk you through here just to show you the pasture station. When this pasture station is completed, it will sit about where it's at right now. It's going to be above the tracks. I will have roads down both sides of the station and a road across in front of it. And then on the either side of the road from here over and on the other side will be the train sheds, the Walters train sheds. So they'll be about 6 feet or so under cover for first track is a run through. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tracks. And then this is a storage track. So we have 6 tracks that we use. This one's a storage track. It does go all the way through, can be used. It's just that the walking area, as you can see, is right here, the large areas. And then this track over here, there's going to be a 2-story REA building here, and there's going to be all docks along this track right here. And you won't be able to see the double track main line behind. Then down the other side of the station will be a large post office operation, and you see one of these. I've got 2 of these. There's another one sitting down there. To say it's messy right now with the maintenance I'm doing, but those will be the docks will be inside those, and they will be U.S. Post Office. So then this track down here, this is the run-through track, I should point out, right along the fascia. That track can be used for anything that needs to get from one end to the other at the station. And right in this area is the Topsy operation. We're going to have at least 2 tracks, possibly 3, because I expect to have a large Topsy operation. And I've been buying trailers whenever I can. I've got quite a few trailers that have not been put into service, and this is just a new operation for me. So that is one other thing that's going to go on up here at the station. And then this is the north end of the station, the tower, and we'll put a roof on those, so they'll be covered, but you can reach in to line the switches. And that's about it right now. So just to give you an update and let you know what's going on. I guess one other thing I can point out, since you see how tall the station is, and I have a deck above it, this upper deck, what I had to do was sink this into the wall, if you look at it. And I actually cut out the 2x2s behind this drywall, or I should say behind the backdrop. And that allowed me to push the track into the wall a little bit. And later on, that's all going to be hidden by downtown buildings and such. And the station won't have a track running in the air behind it. So I think that'll look a little better. So that's it for now.